Hey guys, the Commander Casual here. I'm taking you through a deck tech of my newest deck, which is my Athreos, God of Humans deck. Sorry, my voice probably sounds weird. I'm still getting over sickness. Um, I'm sorry to whoever it was. I couldn't find your comment again, so I couldn't reference your screen name on YouTube. But somebody mentioned that they wanted to see me take on an Athreos deck and do something interesting with it. So I checked to see if this had been done, and I couldn't really find any notable decks that had done this already, which kind of surprised me as well because I didn't think it was that creative. But hopefully I'm breaking the mold. If not, then whatever. So I decided to do this Athreos deck as a human tribal deck. So Athreos is pretty basic commander. 3 drop, black and white, 5/4 indestructible. Um, Whenever a creature you own dies, you return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. So whenever our creature of ours dies, we target an opponent, and they have the choice of either putting that card in our hand or losing 3 life. So typically Athreos decks are very creature heavy because of his ability, and they run a lot of kind of weenie style cards. So I took that general Athreos theme, and then I decided to buff it up with some human tribal stuff, and then just some value in black white. And there are a lot of really good black white humans. Uh, Tasia, Envoy of Ghosts, Kambal, Console of Allocation, Timna the Weaver, Ravos, Soul Tender. Timna and Ravos are really popular commander pairs as well for, I've seen Cleric Tribal or Human Tribal. You could easily do Cleric Tribal with this as well. I just wanted to do something a little bit more unique. Um, Although Cleric Tribal would totally fit the theme as well because it is still very much like a Weenies deck. It's just a black and white Weenies deck. So take you through the land first. Blasted Landscape, I usually put in most decks that I don't have green or blue in, just because usually, or like more early curve decks as this one is, because a lot of the times you'll draw into it later in the game and be like, wow, I really don't need this land, so you cycle it away. We're also running 36 lands, which is apart from my usual 37, which is, I know, such a drastic difference. But again, it's a pretty low curve deck, and I haven't really had any mana issues with it. I had one game that I played where I didn't get past 6 lands, and I almost won. I made it to the final two, and it was a long game, and I think I lost by like a point or two. So it does pretty well even if you don't have a lot of lands. As far as lands to tap for all of our colors, we've got Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Path of Ancestry, then we've got a bunch of like dual color lands of various goodness. So Isolated Chapel, Orzhov Guildgate, Temple of Silence because I love the temples, and then a Scoured Barrens. And then as far as other lands, because we're doing the White Weenie strategy, I threw in a Westvale, so we can pump out little extra dudes with it if we need to. And then I thought that having Ormondal was like a possible flying lifelink indestructible hasty win condition might be convenient if our opponent doesn't have any flyers and we need to dump our board and then swing in. I've got Nurborg just because it helps with some black color fixing. Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds make it into just about all my decks because I usually run a fair amount of basics, and they're just helpful for fixing. And then I've got a Myriad Landscape, which can help with fixing and ramp. And then Temple of the False God, because I'm too cheap to buy an Ancient Tomb, and I'll live with my Temple of the False God. So like there's a pretty decent amount of removal in here as well, just because we are playing black white. It's really good colors for that. So we've got like Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares. I've got a Mortify, Anguished Unmaking, Utter End. As far as board wipes go, I've got a Merciless Eviction, and I don't think I've got too much more. I've got a Decree of Pain as well. Ideally, we don't want a Merciless Eviction our own creatures because it's an exile and not a destroy, but Merciless Eviction is just too good and too variable to not put in here, even if we don't want to risk that. So I've got a Soul Ring because it's pretty standard. Not a ton of mana rocks in here, just the Soul Ring, Cold Steel Heart, and the Orzhov Signet. As far as other artifacts go, we've really just got Coat of Arms, Vanquisher's Banner, Adaptive Automaton, and Metallic Mimic, which are all tribal support cards where you can actually, you don't have to have a specific tribe, you can name the tribe, and they just seemed too good not to put in here. Other tribal support stuff we've got Shared Triumph, so you name a creature type, so humans, creatures of that type get +1/+1. Cover of Darkness, similar to that, choose a creature type, creatures of the chosen type have Fear. Fear is actually huge, and I love this card. Cover of Darkness is really, really good. What other stuff do we have? As far as human tribals goes, we got a Champion of the Parish, because it's crazy good. Thalia's Lieutenant. Um, that's not. Nope, nope. Mirror Entity can just be a win condition later game. It's technically a human. Uh, Zathrid Necromancer was a fun include on this. I've never actually got to play this card before until I built this deck, and so I was super excited to throw that in. Uh, yeah, the Adaptive Automaton, as I already mentioned. Courageous Outrider lets us get possibly a human off the top of our library. Uh, Marshal's Anthem's just a Lord. Riders of Gavany gives this protection for a creature type, so it can really, really stomp other tribal decks. And I think that's mostly it, other than the ones I already mentioned. Oh, and Angel of Glory's Rise, so we can return all of our humans from the graveyard to the battlefield, because that's absolutely huge in this deck. I think we're running about 40 creatures. We've also got a Machias the Lunarch, but he's not a tribal card. Most of the rest of the deck is fleshed out with like just good humans in the colors, and then a couple bombs and stuff. So Bruna the Fading Light is technically human tribal, or at least relative to the human subtype, because you can bring back an angel or a human. And as soon as I put Bruna in here, there's no way I couldn't put Gisela in here as well. So the morph thing is a possibility in here, especially because we also have Athalia's Lancers and Demonic Tutor for possible tutoring for legendary creatures. So I just that's an aside to the deck that just might be interesting. I really like both Gisela and Bruna, the new ones, and even if we don't fuse it into Bracella, they're both just really good cards to have in this deck. And then we're also running stuff like Elish Norn, because it'll just pump up all of our little dorks and lower everything else, and then we can swing for some massive damage. I don't think I need to explain the value of Elish Norn to anybody watching this. Sun Titan, just because it's convenient for bringing people back. And then we've got some other stuff like kind of like Lord effects, kind of like Anthem effects like Cathar's Crusade. I showed you the Marshal's Anthem before. Dragon Scale General is pretty cool. He just kind of you get to bolster based on how many creatures are tapped, so you get to beef up some of your smaller dudes and just keep attacking. And then the rest of the deck, as I said, is just value humans. So we've got like Mirren Crusader, Archetype of Courage, Thalia Heretic Cathar, Recruiter of the Guard lets us get a thing, Ranger of Eos lets us get any of our one drops, and also Machias the Lunarch, which is really cool. I originally had what's the Sarah Ascendant, I think, in here, and I just cut it because it was that card's just so aggressive in Commander, and I don't really like playing it because it's just I think it's a little bit too good, especially if you get turn one. I've also got stuff like Frontline Medic, which gives all of our stuff indestructible with the battalion trigger. Intrepid Hero, help destroy some big stuff. Royal Assassin to also help destroy some big stuff. They're both humans as well. Phyrexian Arena for a little extra card draw. Night's Whispers for some card draw. Read the Bones for card draw. Erebos, because he just seemed way too good not to include in here. Although we don't have a Heliod. And then, yeah, we get stuff back with Ravos, who also acts as a lord. We got a Dictate of Erebos just because we got a lot of little dudes, so them dying is totally cool with us. Geist Honored Monk, because it can be a huge body in this deck. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything of merit in the deck. I've played it a couple times now. It's a ton of fun. It comes rare and right out of the gate just because it does have a fairly low curve. You've usually got lots of dudes out. And the really nice thing about Athreos and just the gods in general, the Theros gods, um, is that you kind of really only have to play them like once, maybe twice. They don't get removed a lot just because they're usually sitting there as a enchantment, not necessarily a creature if you don't have the devotion, but the indestructible on these, and especially Athreos, he's kind of just sits there and doesn't seem like he does that much, but when he is online, you have an indestructible. Either he usually gets used as a blocker, I find, whenever I'm playing this deck, because having a 5/4 indestructible blocker is so helpful in a multiplayer game. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll be posting some gameplay videos of this deck as well coming, so please check out for those. Like the video if you like the deck. I guess dislike it if you disliked it. Leave a comment based on what you think, what you want to see for decks going forward. As I said, this was actually a suggestion deck. Somebody wanted me to take my crack at Athreos, and so I did. I hope you like it, whoever the person was. I'm really sorry I couldn't. I just scrolled through all my comments and I couldn't find the comment you made, but I hope you appreciate the deck. Yeah, and if anybody else has any other suggestions, I'm always looking to tackle that. So please subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future, and please check out my channel if you want to see more existing videos. Thanks for watching, guys.